So as we're lying, I just want you to notice your breath. Notice some areas of the body that feel closed off or tight. Notice the areas that are feeling open and feel good. This is a very vulnerable position, lying on your back with the whole front of your body exposed. Even though you're in a safe place in your home, it's still very vulnerable feeling because you're exposing the heart. The heart is lifted because of the bolster opening up the front side of the body. So sometimes that can feel like a little bit much. Just notice how it feels to open up and expand your heart center. And there's something that I shared yesterday in our Kula group that I wanted to kind of focus on this morning. Aside from starting off on just a fun, positive note, and being in the winter solstice, well, happening yesterday, where we're now moving into light. It's just an opportunity for us to take a flashlight into dark corners of the body or the mind, just to explore and ask ourselves a couple of questions, such as, what is it feel like my light can shine? Myself, or who am I surrounding myself with? What is it that I'm doing that is making me feel lit up? Opposite of that, which we're always dealing with, self, is the light and the dark. What is it that is making me feel like my light is dimming internally? And sometimes those answers surprise us. Sometimes we already know they're not a surprise at all. It's just a matter of, um, courage of making changes, or um, feeling the self worth that we can make those changes and things like that. So for now, we just want awareness. What makes my light shine? What is dimming my light? And let's sit with that today. This is a gentle class, so we'll be moving very slowly and minimally. But like with any class, we begin with the breath. We're going to do a 3-part breath this morning. Instead of doing like we normally do, the 2-part breath, where we're just really trying to regulate belly, chest, and using both movement in both the upper and lower of the diaphragm, we're going to do 3 parts here, where it's belly, chest, collarbone area. Just think throat area, tail. Being that number 2 and 3 part, it's in the same area. It's both the lungs, but it just kind of helps us to remember to fill all the way to the top. To have that pinpoint focus: belly, heart, collarbones. And then exhale, just completely empty the lungs. You're going to continue this, and if any time it feel like you have to catch your breath or something like that, then just go ahead and breathe normally, and then maybe return to it, or maybe not. And we're going to do this for a few moments. Slowing down the breath as much as possible and deepening the breath as much as possible. And then finish up wherever you are. Just do maybe one more round and then go back to your regular natural breath, letting it come and go without the control. And just notice any differences in how you're breathing or even how you feel. Even though it's first thing in the morning and our minds really have not had too much of a chance to be too crazy, but that's not necessarily true. Sometimes as soon as we wake up, we have those things that just start flooding in. It's just a little bit easier to manage that in a class. One more deep breath. And then exhale through the mouth. And then go ahead and slowly bend the knees. We're going to roll onto our right side. Just to remove the bolster or the blanket, just push it off to the side. And then we're going to return to the back, keeping the knees bent. And we're going to straighten the right leg and bring the left knee up to the chest. As you're bringing the left knee up towards the body, actively lengthen the right leg, pushing out through the heel so that both feet can be flexed here. Bringing the mind back to the sensations of the body and the breath. We're going to take this knee and come into a twist. So go ahead and release the leg a little bit. The left is going to off the right side. So your left shoulder blade is heavy towards the mat. If you need support underneath your shoulder blade, go ahead and put it there. Go ahead and come back to center. We're going to straighten the left leg and then bring the right knee up to the chest. Use both hands, just, you know, your hip crease there, hip flexors, depending on a certain amount, and that's fine. Just bring it where it can go. Lengthen through the left heel. Soften the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And then we'll go ahead and bring that right knee off the left side of the mat. Extend the right arm. Next exhale, come back to center. And so keep the right knee bent with the heel, the right heel as close to the body as possible. Left leg is going to stay straight. We're going to come into a supine tree here. So just drop the right knee out to the right and then bring the arms up overhead. You can grab opposite elbows or you can keep the arms separated just like you would be doing tree pose standing up. And this can be passive, just open the hip, but if you notice, if you ate the glutes, that'll help open and push the hips open a little bit more. You decide what feels good to you this morning. You can do either. And again, if your knee is floating, you can put your blanket or bolster underneath that. We're just going to take another breath or two here. And then you can keep the arms where they are. Carefully bring the right knee up towards the ceiling. Straighten the leg, and we'll do the other side in the left knee. Drop the knee out to the left. Try to keep the right hip towards the mat. I'd rather your hips be on the mat than your knee down to the ground. One more breath here. And then go ahead, bring the arms down, and then bring that left knee up. Bend both knees once again. We're gonna cross the feet or the legs. The lower legs are gonna cross, kind of like we're sitting crisscross on the floor, and try to grab the feet and pull them towards the body. Just do your best in this. If this isn't an option, just grab the knees with the legs crossed, and then we're gonna rock left to right. And then we're gonna release and cross the other leg on top. So if your right leg was on the bottom, now it's on the top. And then we'll release the feet, bring the knees together, and hold your knees so you can draw circles on the ceiling with your knees, just rotating the hips. We're gonna go in both directions, so clockwise and counterclockwise. Good. And then let's bring the feet back down. Up. And we're gonna come into child's pose. So knees apart, toes together. Do this pose as comfortably as you can. We're gonna be here for a few breaths. So if you need support behind the knees, under the knees, or even just being on your forearms. Your fists can be supporting your forehead, or you can be grabbing your feet. You choose. And sometimes a challenge for these slower classes is that the mind gets, each time we come into a posture, feel the parts of the body that are touching the mat. Feel what's going on in the body. Follow the inhale and the exhale. Sometimes the mind is trying to avoid us figuring things out. Go ahead, on your next inhale, lift the head. Bring your hands back to the mat. And then we're going to sit on our heels best we can, the knees pointing straight forward. And we're just gonna lean the front of the feet. And then walk the hands forward all the way to the front of the mat for hip circles, big hip circles, front, side, back, side. both directions, just like the knees, clockwise and counterclockwise. The mind is so interesting, and I mean, you guys already know a lot about it, but I always find it fascinating. Protects us from things, even like an uncomfortable conversation, you know, like, don't do that. You're going to die, run. And that's why it's important not to identify as, you know, like we're separate from our minds. Okay, go ahead and come back to center, curl your toes under, press the hands, lift up and back. Downward facing dog, start to pedal your feet. Come up onto the toes, drop the hips back and forth. And let's just take a few breaths here. I know you guys are, I mean, both of you are strong enough to take a few breaths up here, but if you feel like you need to drop down, go ahead. Let's slow down our movement and just be still for a moment. Ears are lined up with the inner arms. We're lengthening through the tailbone. Get the ribs away from the shoulders. And even if the knees are bent, just see if you can make the heels heavy here. And take 3 breaths. Walk the feet forward. We'll exhale. And then lift up, bringing the hands away from the ears. Press all 4 corners of the feet into the mat. Inhale, bring the arms up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, bring the arms up. Grab the left wrist, exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, come back to center, grab the right wrist, exhale, lean to the left. You're gonna sit in these gingerbread pants for the next, bring the arms down, grab the elbows behind the back. Are you guys coming to the, well, I'll just remind you because I mute, but we have the stretch. So lift the chest, nothing is moving here but the neck and the head. Rotate and look to the right as far as you can. Keep the chest pointing forward. And then keep the chin towards the chest as you roll across. Nice and slow, and look over the left shoulder. And notice your range of motion from one side to the other. Be sure you're not moving. Just go across. And now just go back and forth a few times. Stop and give attention to any parts of the neck that need it. We'll do one more. And then bring the head back to center. Drop the arms. Take your right hand and guide. Don't push. Just guide your right ear to the right shoulder. Lengthen through the left fingertips. Keep the chin lifted. And if you hold tension in your shoulders, which a lot of people do, or the trapezius, you might feel a good stretch here, but you also might be crunching your shoulders towards your ears. So be sure that the shoulder blades are just sliding down the back towards the tailbone. Go ahead and release. Other side, the left ear to the left shoulder, reach through the right fingers. And also pay attention to how your legs are right now. Be sure that your toes are pointing forward. You're supporting the skeleton in alignment. Go ahead and release. Good. Inhale, bring the arms up. Interlace the fingers, exhale, hands in front of the heart. 2 more times like that. Inhale up. Interlace, exhale. I always imagine just gathering all of this good energy I'm creating during my practice and bringing it in. Good, release the arms. So you're probably already at the front of your mat. I'm gonna move to the front of mine and bring the left foot back. So you're in crescent here, which can be difficult for balancing. So don't take too wide of a stance here. Once you have your left leg back, the heel is lifted, but also let it soften towards the mat, okay? And make for balance. You can widen your stance towards the left and right. We're just gonna put our hands together in front of our heart here and take a few breaths. Be sure your right knee is directly over the ankle, not beyond. And then we'll move this into a warrior one. So drop the heel to the floor. The toes are pointing diagonally. And then we're gonna bring the arms up. Keep wrapping the left hip forward. Release the tailbone toward that. And keep the back leg strong. Palms together, hands in front of the heart. Step back to Tadasana. So with warrior one, if you're noticing that your hip keeps wanting to open, it just means you have a tight psoas or something in there is tight. So you'll have to just take a shorter stance and maybe a wider stance, okay? All right, so right leg back. Let's do that all on the other side. Heel is lifted first, right heel, but soften it towards the mat. Keep the front knee bent. Be sure you're not compressing the lower back, okay? Just release. Hands in front of the heart here. Neck is long. Heart is lifted. And then drop the back heel. Adjust your feet, the arms up. You should be able to press the outer edge of the back foot in this pose and still keep the right hip wrapped forward. Palms together, hands in front of the heart. Come back to Tadasana. Let's do a couple of sun salutations here. Going back in a child's pose or down dog when it's time. You can choose. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees as generously as you need to. Good. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back. Lower in chaturanga. Use your knees if you need to. This is the only time that I can really watch you guys, so. Good. Inhale to cobra. And then exhale, take it back to either down dog or child's pose for 5 breaths. You choose. 1, 2, deep breathing here. 3, 4, to the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. We're gonna here. And then inhale, bring your arms all the way up. Nice and slow, strong back. Good. Palms together. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. And back to mountain pose or Tadasana. One more time. Inhale, reach up as high as you can. Open up the lungs. Exhale, fold. Get the belly as close to the thighs as possible. Drop the head. Good. Inhale and look up. Get a flat back. And then exhale, step back and lower your body. Everything touches the floor at the same time. Chaturanga. Inhale to cobra. Elbows are pinned to the side of the body as you lift the chest and the head. And then don't think about it, just take it back for 5 breaths. Child's pose or down dog. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, look up. Get to the front of your mat. We're all going to meet here. And then exhale, fold. And inhale, bring the arms all the way up. Palms together, hands in front of the heart. Nice. I like to at least be able to see you guys a little bit and how your bodies are doing. And by the way, you look great. Let's turn sideways on our mat. And so we're going to take the right toes out 90 degrees. Be sure you're pivoting and not dragging the foot and hurting the knee. And then the back toes, or the back foot, I should say, is either going to be in a little bit or lined up exactly parallel with the back of the mat. Be sure that the toes are never out. Most standing poses, they're not like that. Okay. Okay. Pretty wide stance here for warrior 2. Engage the muscles, upper leg muscles, and bend the right knee. So this back leg is nice and straight and strong and pushing. And I just want you to look at your knee. This is so important. Be sure that the right knee is not caving in. You're going to have to press the outer edge of the front foot and kind of help it stay directly over the ankle. Take your left hand to your left shoulder and rotate it back. Good. So even my energy is kind of pushing forward a little bit. I want to come back to center. So torso is in the middle. And then look over the right fingertips. We're going to try to take 3 or 4 breaths here. I know you're both strong enough to do this, even though it's a gentle class. And we're going to add a little bit of movement. So inhale, straighten the leg, bring the hands up, palms together. And then exhale, come down. Full breaths here. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Bring your hands to your waist. Straighten the right leg. Pivot on the heel to bring the right toes in. And pivot on the toes to bring the left heel in. So we can do this on the other side. So watch your feet. Maybe take a little bit wider stance. And the line here, you can be heel to arch for this. You could be heel to heel or heel to arch. It depends on your anatomy. So balance-wise, see what works better for you. Already have the legs engaged before you bend the knee. Press the outer edge of the front foot. Back leg is nice and strong. Take your right hand to your right shoulder, rotate it back. So the chest should be facing straight off the side of your mat. Extend the arms. Shift your torso to the center. Look off the left fingertips. The shoulder blades are softening down the back towards the tailbone. And then we're going to add the movement. So inhale, straighten the leg, bring the arms up. Exhale down. Feel strong. This is a warrior pose. Feel the strength that this pose can give you. Exhale down. We're doing it one more time with the breath. Inhale up. And exhale down. Bring your hands to your waist. Straighten the left leg. Pivot on the heel to come in. Now, both toes forward. Make sure the feet are lined up. So if I were to draw a line behind your heels, they run on the same line. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, send the hips back and the heart forward. Bend your knees if you need to. Fingertips to the floor or a block or anything really. And then take a moment here. We haven't done too much, the hamstrings have been working, but let's stretch the back of the legs. Once your hamstrings stop you, just inhale, take another lengthen through the crown of the head. Lift the sitting bones and then exhale, fold, drop the head here, shoulders back. Inhale to lift the head, bend the knees a little bit. Bring your hands to your waist and inhale, come all the way up. Good. Let's bring the feet back together and shake that out a little bit. There's a lot of leg work there. Yeah. Okay, so let's do some balancing. So use a wall or a chair or something. I mean, of course you don't have to, but you can, especially for this class. If you want something gentle, give yourself something. I mean, in the other classes, you can focus on the balance. For this one, let's focus on something else. We're going to be standing on the left leg first. So get that set up. Muscles are hugging the bones. Have your focus point and try to keep the chest lifted as you raise the right knee and grab it with your right hand. So nothing moves in the upper body. We're just bringing that knee up the best we can. Because this in itself takes a lot of muscular work. Open it up to the right. Bring it back to center. And release. Other side. Once you're up in this pose, I'll turn sideways at least. Go ahead and lift the left knee. Grab it with the left hand. When you're up in this pose, if you just want to, move your fingertips away from the wall or whatever for a moment, go ahead. Chest stays lifted here. Keep the foot flexed. The foot flexed is going to help you engage the muscles that will help you keep this lifted. If you're pointing the toes, it's just really the quadriceps, and you need more than that. Bring it out to the left. Back to center. And release. Very nice. Let's go to the front of the mat. We're going to inhale and bring the arms up. And exhale, fold. Drop the head. Inhale, look up. And then exhale, step back. Come down to your knees, cross the ankles, and have a seat. All right, we're gonna spend a minute here. Just do a little bit more twisting and side bends before we go into Shavasana. And I would like to focus on the wrists too a little bit. So let's just start there. Bring your hands straight forward and pull the fingers back. I know you guys do this at least once a day anyhow. I can hear you both saying like, yeah, right. Fingertips point down, pull them back. You're in the right place. Go ahead and release circles. Other side, left fingertips pointing up, pull them back. I just think about how delicate the hands are and all the work they do for us. We just pay attention really to all the big parts of the body. Fingertips point down, pull them back. Until they're, until maybe our wrists are really hurting, then we pay attention to them. At least that's my experience. And go ahead and release. Right fingertips to the floor, inhale the left arm up. Exhale, lean to the right. Other side, inhale the right arm up. Exhale, lean to the left. We're gonna do this a little bit quicker, just kind of a flow movement here. So just go back and forth. And then go ahead and bring both hands down. Let's take the left hand to the right knee. Inhale, get tall. And then exhale, revolve to the right. Release. Right hand to the left knee. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, revolve. See how you can use your breath to come into this twist a little bit deeper. So take another breath here. And then let your body move with the exhale. Revolve from the middle spine, the thoracic. And then release. Bring the knees together. Lie down on your back. We're going to sit here for just a moment to let the spine settle. And then we're going to do one bridge. So get your heels close to your bum. If you have a block that you want to use for a supported bridge instead, a passive back bend, then you go ahead and use that. Before we even lift up, tilt your pelvis forward. So you're just going to get a little bit more curve in the lower back. And then press the feet to lift. You don't have to go crazy here. If you want to interlace the fingers underneath the back, you can. Just keep pressing the inner edges of the feet and the heels. We're going to take 3 breaths here. And go ahead and lower. Take a breath. And then knees to the chest. Now we do want the lower back to be squished. So make sure you really lift the sitting bones to squish and get a flat lower back. Rock back and forth. And then you can take this into a happy baby if you like. So just grab the insides of the legs and maybe press the knees towards the floor, only if this feels good to you and it's in your normal practice anyhow. And then go ahead and bring the knees back together, feet to the floor. You're going to straighten the legs, bring the arms overhead, and take a long stretch and really circle the wrists and the ankles. Take a big take a big yawn. And then when you're done, just bring the arms down, put on socks, get your blanket, get really cozy here so we can do this more of a guided relaxation. Something to cover the eyes, perhaps. And we're going to start by taking 3 deep breaths. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Really feeling like you're gathering up any stress or tension in the body so that it can leave through the mouth on your exhale. Begin to feel the bones settling to the back of the body. Feeling as though the muscles are softening away from the bones. And now feel as though the skin is moving away from the muscles. As if you're creating this space within the body. Bring your awareness to the top of the head, releasing the scalp. Smoothing out the forehead. And even feeling a release of the inner ear canals. Allow the teeth to separate just a little bit. And allow the throat and the back of the neck to be soft. Bring your awareness to the shoulder blades and the arms. And feeling a release in the shoulder blades traveling into the upper arms, the elbows, the forearms and the wrists, out through the fingertips. Letting the fingers just naturally curl a little bit towards the palms. Bring your awareness to the rib cage. Allowing the ribs to soften in the front and the back of the body. Releasing the abdominal muscles and feeling the navel and the organs just settle towards the mat. Bring your awareness to the pelvic area. feeling an unraveling of the hip joints and releasing the pelvic floor completely. Bring that awareness of release into the muscles in the upper legs, the front and the back. A release of the knees, the shins and the calf muscles. And the ankles. Soften the feet, especially the arches of the feet. And carry that softness out through the toes. Allowing your breath to naturally come and go, almost as if the breath is breathing you. For the next few moments, just allow yourself to be.